Alright everybody, hello and welcome. As always, I am Sean. This is In The Mixer as we continue our #United series. We are currently up to episode 4. If you haven't checked out the first 3 episodes, feel free to go back in the channel or hopefully in this playlist and check out the other 3 because they'll kind of go through how we've structured the club, all the great work that our key collaborators have done in getting this save set up. It'll go through the squads, it'll go through the tactic, it'll go through all the stuff and how we've done so far this season. And we are absolutely flying. 7 games in, we've won 6, drawn 1. We'll go through that result in a moment as well. Currently scored the most goals in the league with 22. We have the second best offensive record with only 8 conceded during that time. And we've done that without some of probably our star players quite hitting top form yet. It is still super early in the season. We're not going to get carried away. In that last episode, of course, we played our Eastern Counties League Cup first round game against Wivenhoe Town. A really fantastic performance, winning 4-0. A lot of our reserve and squad players came in for that game and performed really well, which was great to see. Went back to kind of a full strength lineup and won 4-2 against Brentford in the game after that. We've played 2 games off screen since. A really entertaining game against Lopez Tavares, in which we went a goal down in the 10th minute to Jason Moran, equalised through Tashan Richmond, who's been probably our player of the season so far. Tom Williams put us ahead in injury time of the first half, and then they immediately got an equaliser when they came out from the halftime break. We tried quite a bit. We made a few subs early. We went for broke. Made a couple of adjustments to our tactic to try and find that winner, and we're probably the better side over the course of the 90 minutes. But fair play to Lopez Tavares. They took the chances really well. They were 2 excellent goals. And now that I'm reading this back, it might even be worthwhile adding Jason Moran to our shortlist, but it doesn't look like he's a real player. He is not, so we can't sign Jason Moran. Well, fair play to him. He only had 1 game in the game and he was fantastic against us, got a double, so credit to him. We then returned to form with a 4-1 victory at home at Coles Park Stadium. Charlie Morley, Tom Williams, Jack Harrison and Dan Brown all getting amongst the goals. Dan Brown probably hasn't scored as much as you'd expect a 4.5-star striker to so far this season, but I think we might make a couple of tactical tweaks at what we're doing with the ball to try and bring him into it a little bit more. They pulled one back in the injury time of the first half, but otherwise they didn't do a tremendous amount of that game. Which takes us to our episode today. Needham Market reserves in the second round of the League Cup and Hackney Wick away from home, who are struggling so far in the division this season. But I think in real life, they're actually a solid looking team. I've watched a couple of games that they've played against the real life #United side, and they don't look terrible. So hopefully we can get through that game without much fuss. We are going to rotate a little bit here. We're going to bring Jamie Jackson back in for the League Cup game. Gleeden Braun will play as the fullbacks. Harrison and Stamp, I'm going to give time to continue working on developing their partnership in central defence. Ricky Evans and Lee Hersett, first 2 names on the team sheet as far as that midfield is concerned. Interestingly enough, Tekka's Guru has come back ahead of time. He was initially going to be out for about 6 months. Thankfully, it's worked out to be about 3, I think, in the game. He's still out for another 3 to 6 weeks, so he's a long, long way away before he's going to get involved in first-team football again. But good to have him back. It helps our depth tremendously. Ryan Adams will come in and play as the attacking midfielder. We'll give Tashan Richmond a rest. Theo Baker on the left wing, Charlie Morley will play on the right, and Daniel Adji up top. We are going to make 2 slight changes as well. You will notice we've also put in here a cautious version of our tactic and an attacking version of our tactic. That's just so during the course of the games, if we're losing or if we're winning or we want to change or alter something, we can go to 2 different other mentalities and the team will be familiar with them. So it's not like we're just randomly changing to a crazy mentality in the middle of a match. They're actually going to have practiced that and done a little bit differently. What I also want to do is in possession, I want to move us away from shorter passing a little bit. And we spoke about it in the last game, struggling to get out to fullbacks and stuff who were knocking deep crosses in for us. We're going to move our line of engagement up just a tiny little bit, just one little bit. So hopefully it's just a standard line of engagement. And hopefully those 2 changes will, 1, bring our poaching striker into the game a little bit more, and try and release our wingers a little bit earlier, and hopefully it will mean we step to the ball a little bit quicker and there aren't as many deep crosses causing us issues. We've conceded quite a few from that area. So again, even though we're doing well, even though we're top of the table, there are always things that you want to look at and tweak, and you always want to kind of do it within the first 10 games or so, see what you're doing well, see what you need to improve on, and make changes and alterations according to that. So good to get them in early, and we will continue. Like, we're not going to stick this tactic in and set it and forget it and not do anything to it. We'll continue to change and tweak this as the season goes on. As different personnel are available, we might change different player roles within the system. The days of having a tactic that you can download or copy or something like that, set it and win all your games are long gone in this match. Long gone in Football Manager. So you really need to be keeping an eye on that sort of stuff, looking at your team reports, checking out your tactics, checking out who's training well and adapting to that as well. So we'll give us Andy Cade Watts, Farai Singano, Jamel Akeem, Aaron Couch and Dan Brown on the bench today. We'll give a rest to Tom Williams. Tekkas Guru we already spoke about. Harry Honesty, we'll give him a rest as well, even though he has performed pretty well. And Tashane Richmond has been fantastic. So we'll give him a couple of days off before our next league fixture. All right, looking at the Needham Market side here, they've got Pope in goal, Lamptey, and I think that's James Carragher. So maybe it's his kid or his weird cousin as their central defensive partnership. Fincher on the left, fullback spot, Parker on the right, Dolan will anchor midfield ahead of Lee and Morrison. Summers on the right, Mills on the left, and Fieldhouse up top. We have played against a lot of 4-3-3 formations, and we have had a lot of success against 4-3-3 formations, so hopefully we can carry that on a little bit today. And we're just going to calmly tell everybody we're the favourites for a reason. Go out there and make sure they're left into no doubt. Ross Gleed responded fantastically well to that. And away we go in this second round League Cup tie. Is this going to be a highlight? Charlie Morley with a deep ball across. It was towards Daniel Adjie, but they've done well to get it away. Adams now to Morley again. Can he square it up? Finds Baker, and Baker blazes over from 6 yards. That's a strong start, though, at Coles Park Stadium. Good interplay from Adams and Morley as well. I'd like to see a little bit more out of Ryan Adams. I thought he would have a bigger impact on the season than he has done in the first couple of weeks of the season. Probably lost his spot Tashane Richmond at the moment as well, as that number 10 attacking midfielder. Highlight again now. So many of our highlights seem to start from throw-in situations. Theo Baker's done very well tracking the fullback to win the ball back. Comes to Gleed, inside to Harrison. It's a long ball towards Daniel Adjie, headed away by Jamie Carragher. Long ball over the top. Adjie is on a tight angle. Can he get a good touch in? Oh, it's a great strike from Daniel Adjie. His 4th goal of the season. Ryan Adams gets himself the assist, but to be fair to Adjie, he peeled off the shoulder of the defensive line really, really well. Had a ton of work to do in this wide area here as well. It just takes one touch to get it under control, one back towards goal. Keeper should have come out and made the angle big, and all Adjie had to do was really poke that one straight in to the near post. And we go a goal to the good in the opening 6 minutes, which is fantastic to see. Already 2 shots, 1 on target and 60% possession. Throwing now, Ross Gleed to take. It's played towards Ryan Adams to Theo Baker, back to Gleed. Got a decent 4v3 here if we can work it the right way. Back to Evans, to Adams, who hangs the ball in. It's cleared away, but only as far as Evans again, who starts again through Hursett and switches out to Charlie Morley. Deep ball across, Baker's in the area, and Theo Baker, 2nd goal of the season for him. Fantastic play. I'm not sure if this is a volley or a header or what the situation is, but Charlie Morley with a dangerous looking ball in behind the defence. It's a great reset play there from Hursett as well, just looking out the far side. It's deep cross in, and it's Baker, I think, on his left foot. He's very, very blonde, like maybe even getting on that strawberry blonde type style. He definitely doesn't have brunette hair. It's just one of those things the game keeps throwing up. But 2 goals to the good in the first 15, 16 minutes, which is great to see. Usually we concede during that time, so massive improvement. All right, through 30 minutes now, and we haven't really seen anything from Needham Market that would think they're going to resist us in any way. 11 shots, 4 on target for us, 60% possession still. Nothing particularly interesting happening around the grounds. White Ensign, who are in our division, are currently losing to Brantham. God Manchester, which is a crazy name, currently winning their match. Norwich United, if there are any Norwich City fans out there that wanted to maybe pick another team. Friendford are losing from our division to Ipswich Wanderers. Hackney Wick, who will play in the next game, are currently drawing 0-0. If they get a draw, that'd be great for us because it means they'll have a replay that they'll have to sort out during the course of the week. Another highlight here, Morley to take the corner. It's a deep one across to Ryan Adams, and he's done tremendously well there. It looks like Tashane Fincher eventually was the person that poked it behind the line. I think Adams' header was probably going in, and Theo Baker was right in the area. I actually thought it was going to be a Baker goal for a moment. It's a good header back across, and you can see Fincher was just trying to tackle Leo Baker on the line. He's forced that one into his own goal. 3 goals up before half-time. Maybe this is the side I should be playing in the league, because every time we've given these guys an opportunity, they've gone and flat out in the first half, performed really well, and really put these kind of like lower division, other shitty teams to the sword. Well, they're not lower division because it's the League Cup. They're all in our league, but you know what I mean. Gets half-time there. A thoroughly commanding performance thus far, so I'm just going to calmly tell everybody, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Very happy with the way things are going. Keep it up. And everyone's responded really positively to that. There are a few players out there, the likes of Evans, Hursett, Harrison and Stamp, who you'd expect to probably play midweek. Oh, and Charlie Morley as well, I guess. You'd expect them to be straight back into the starting lineup for the game on the weekend in the league against Hackney Wick, so we might look at making some subs around the hour mark and seeing how we go. First build-up play we've really seen from Needham Market here to Longstaff, back to Dolan at the holding midfield. Comes out to Fincher, who conceded that own goal. It's a deep, deep ball across to Summers on the right-hand side. He gets one in, it's headed away well by Lee Hursett. Charlie Morley now on the right wing. Do we have a counter-attack here? Daniel Adjie has gotten in behind the defence. Keeper's not coming out. Can he find the finish? That is fantastic from Daniel Adjie. A very direct assist and a very direct counter-attack, but God, if we can get those balls in behind and get strikers running off the shoulder, as Adjie has done there, we will be well on our way. It's a great ball, and the keeper really should be coming out and claiming that. By the time Adjie touches it, it's inside the 6-yard box. Takes a touch, left-footed strike, pretty much straight down the middle of the goal, but the keeper is having an absolute nightmare. And his 5th goal of the season, despite really only playing in cup competitions, which I think is a better return rate than we've seen from Dan Brown thus far. Another highlight here, Morley to take the free kick. Headed back by Evans. Is that Ross Gleed? It is. I think that'll be his first goal for the club. Fantastic for him. Oh, no, actually it's his 3rd goal for the season, so God knows what I'm talking about. Assist from Charlie Morley. I think it's a deep one across towards Jack Harrison. Oh no, Ricky Evans. Keith makes a good save, but it hits Ross Gleed and bounces its way in. We are 5-0 up inside 50 minutes. Charlie Morley running away with stuff this game. 3 assists to his name now from dead balls, from corners, from open play. He has had his assist boots on. Evans to take a free kick now. It's a decent strike. Pope pushes it away. Carragher scrambles it away, but it's going to curl back in and stay in with Ricky Evans. He can reset again now through Marcus Stamp. Plays a long one forward towards Morley. It's back out towards Hursett, inside to Adams. Evans has time on the left wing. Looks for Theo Baker, but the highlight ends. Had a decent switch out there to Tom Williams as well. Oh, sorry, no, not Tom Williams. Ross Gleed. Alright, we're an hour gone and they've started making subs of their own, so we might have a look at who we can bring on here and get some extra game time. We might swap out Stamp and Harrison, because they will likely play during the game, and bring on Singano and Arkeem. He's had a fantastic game, and I do actually hate to take him off, but we'll give Charlie Morley a rest as well, because he'll start in the next match. Bring on Aaron Couch. Let's give him a team talk. I have faith in you. Get out there and make a difference. Aaron Couch has responded well. All 3 of them, despite being subs, are in perfect morale, which is great to see, because this is Morale Manager 2017 or 2019. I forgot what year it was. I'm still haven't wrapped my head around the fact that I'm going to have to say Football Manager 2020, or do we say FM20? I don't know what it is. Put it in the comment section below what you think the next version of the game will be referred to as. But it still feels like 100 years in the future for me. Goal kick now, played forward by Pope, but only Ross Gleed challenges for it. Baker's gotten in behind. Addy will be on a hat trick if he can win the ball back here. It's away by Dolan, but one back by Theo Baker again. He's going on a run here. It's a decent strike from distance. Adams with the drive from the top of the 18-yard box. I'm sorry, drove to get it. But high and wide on that one. Not far off, though. And a much better performance from Ryan Adams. Looks to be pulling the strings a little bit more than he has in any other previous game. Alright, into the last 10 minutes now. We've made all 3 of our subs, as have Needham Market. Haven't really seen any highlights from them thus far. The team has performed incredibly well. I'm quite content with them to just take the foot off the gas a little bit here. 5-0 doesn't really matter that much in a cup competition, so no real need to push on for further goals. 2 minutes to be added on as extra time for the referee. Ross Gleed now with the throw in. Surely this is the last 30 seconds of the game, and we're just going to see time called. Headed away. Mills clears it out to the left-hand side to Fincher, who conceded that unfortunate and a long goal. Own goal. His long ball, though, straight to Jamie Jackson, who can take all the time in the world here. Picks the ball up now. Should just launch it forward, and hopefully the referee is going to call full time. And he does. 5-0. A 5-0 win in the second round of the League Cup. That is a fantastic performance. And just shows like the decent depth that we have in this squad at the moment, which is great to see. I'm not 100% sure how much further we can take this group. Maybe 1 division higher, maybe 2. But yeah, in reality, this season is going fantastically well thus far. Assertively, very happy with the result and the way you played. There's nothing you can complain about a 5-0 win against a team in your division. 5-star hashtag United triumph. Charlie Morley, despite coming off after an hour, got man of the match in that one with his 3 assists and a 9.2 rating. We get another £300, which is massive for us out of the course of the season. And we are also going to praise Charlie Morley just to give him a little bit of a boost as well. Superb with the number and quality of chances that he created during the last match. Perfect morale for him. Fantastic to see. It's a Tuesday night game. We're only a part-time side. Well, actually, I think most of us, we are part-time at the moment. And probably a good few seasons away from going to professional status. So we're just going to give everyone 1 day's rest to recover. And we'll probably jump ahead now. Magic of editing, you guys won't have to watch the next week. I'll let you know if there's any massive stuff that comes up. All right, and just like that, we are a week ahead, jumping into the Hackney week game. Looking first at the Hackney side. They are hidden behind my head here. I'm not sure if this will help in any way. I can't tell because I do all the green screening in post. But Moss in goal, Hayes, Court, Reed and Quirk is their back 4. Spittle and McCarthy. Oh, that's definitely not going to work. It'll be like Spittle and McCarthy holding their midfield. Stockdale ahead of them. And we'll come back in for the wingers. Furness and Gallagher and Vernon up top. Very segregated and separated midfield lines there. It's a midfield 3, but not set up and structured the way that we do. For us, Cade Watts in goal. Tom Williams is away with the Cypriot international side. He's going to add his 3rd cap at 37 years old. Ross Gleed will continue at left back after a decent performance in the last game, getting amongst the goals. Harrison and Stamp as our central defensive combination. Singano will come back in on the right-hand side for Kane Brougham, who drops to the bench. Evans and Hersett in midfield. Tasha and Richmond at the 10. Honesty on the left wing. Charlie Morley on the right after his fantastic performance. And we're going to give Daniel Adji a chance to continue. Both times we've started him, he scored 2 goals. He did have one previous game where he didn't score in the league itself, but I'm not sure if that just had to do with the opponent that we were playing. Hackney Wick struggling this season. Hopefully that's enough for him to boost his confidence a little bit and get back amongst it. 5 goals for the season. Dan Brown, who I thought was going to tear the entire league apart, only has 3. Come on, lads. Show me what you can do to keep our run going. No one's responded particularly positively, so I'm just going to talk to our defence and say, I think there's a lot more to come from you. Everybody seems pretty happy with that. I didn't make enough of it in the last game. We did make those 2 little tactical tweaks to our taking away our shorter passing and moving forward our line of confrontation, or line of engagement, I think it's referred to in the game itself, and we won 5-0. So I'm not sure if that's going to see an improvement in this game as well. All right, and through 15 minutes now without really much happening for either side. We've not seen a highlight, though. We have had 1 shot, 1 on target. 54% possession. They've had a shot now, but it wasn't on target. We are pretty much the only game in our division today. There's FA Vars or FA Vase, depending on how you want to pronounce it, and FA Trophy fixtures also happening around the leagues today. Moss with the long ball forward now. Good header won by Honesty. Daniel Adji, can he find a forward player? Instead he goes back to Singano, knocks the ball towards Morley, who was trying to run him behind. Richmond with a great flick onto Daniel Adji, and I think he's volleyed that one home, which is absolutely fantastic. His 6th goal of the season. We spoke about his form in the lead up to the game and how well he performed during the week in the Cup. He's in a rich vein of scoring form. Just a long ball forward for Singano. Another one in here. Richmond with a good flick on. So it's another assist for Tashan. And that is a fantastic half volley from Daniel Adji, beating the keeper at his near post. Only 2 stars. Only 2-star rated ability. He's got a lot of physical and finishing attributes that are in double figures, but so does Dan Brown. So I'm not sure why Dan Brown isn't scoring, but Adji is. And they're both suited to the poacher duty. So this would see us go to 8 games ahead of most of the other teams in the division and on 22 points, already opening up a 6-point lead and a +9 goal difference on Halstead Town in 2nd spot on 16 points, albeit they do have a game in hand. 30 minutes gone now, 4 shots, 2 on target, 56% possession. Everything seems to be flowing along nicely. Nobody tearing it up really for them in terms of match ratings. Their keeper's been their best player with a 6.8. Adji, of course, our best with a 7.2. Got another highlight now. Evans to take a free kick from distance. Richmond is there, and Moss spilt the initial free kick, couldn't hold it, and Richmond is first one to the rebound. Nobody else really in the vicinity to go for it. His 8th goal of the season in pretty much our 8th game, which is a fantastic return for a guy that didn't start the first few games of the season. And just to add a little bit extra polish to that one, it's on his wrong foot, and it goes in off the base of the post to put us 2-0 up in the 33rd. Throwing now, Ross Gleed to take, finds Harry Honesty, who plays inside to Tash and Richmond. It's a long ball forward towards Daniel Adjei, who switches out to Charlie Morley on the right wing. Singano and Morley are out there if they can work their 2v1, but Singano sits back, Morley with a deep ball across, comes back out to Tash and Richmond at the top of the box, and I'm not sure if that took a deflection off Daniel Adjei or a Hackney Wick player, but his 9th goal of the season. Great left-footed strike from around the top of the area. It's a good ball in from Charlie Morley. It's Honesty that challenges, but it's headed away by Quirk. Great touch from Richmond. And you can see there he was aiming for the other corner. I'm not sure the keeper would have gotten to it regardless. It deflects off the defender for Hackney Wick and his 2nd goal of the game. I was actually umming and ahhing whether giving Ryan Adams another chance at the 10, but Tashan Richmond's just in such good form. 2 minutes to be added on by the ref. There's a couple of different body language things here that are concerning, disinterested and whatever else. If we give him a decent team talk, give him 15 minutes before we make some subs, hopefully that can arrest a bit of complacency in the team. So I'm wondering maybe I should just say that. Don't get complacent. Things can turn around very quickly in football. Everyone seems motivated and gained focus, which is good to see. Hopefully that was most of the players that seemed disinterested in the match heading into half-time. Honesty cuts the ball out on halfway. I think this is just a kick-off highlight, but it's a long ball forward from Evans, and their keeper comes out, I think, and claims before the highlight ends. So things are going well. I'm really happy with the way the series has started. It's hard to be upset when you've won 7 of your first 8. They made 2 subs in... I'm not sure if that's at half-time, 45 plus 3, or if they actually made 2 subs in injury time of the first half. It's crazy if they did. Doesn't look like either player was injured either. And they got some players out there struggling on 6.1, 6.2s. The 2 guys they took off weren't doing horribly. Evans now with the ball on halfway, played out to Harry Honesty on the left wing. It's a strike from distance from Harry Honesty, and not that pretty. Goes out, never really in danger of troubling the scorers on that one. But Harry Honesty, I think nearly every week since the season begun has been our top performing training player. So every week I'm just telling him, hey, congrats on training really well. He's getting like 8.5s, 8.6s consistently. There's a couple other players that are in and around that figure, but no one really trains better than he does during the course of the week. I think we're yet to see some of that come through in actual game performances, but I think he's been fantastic. And if you are doing your own save at this level in this database, keep an eye out for him. He's a good player. All right, we're going to pause the game there and have a look at our subs. And actually what we might do is we'll test out one of these other tactics, and we're going to go to our attacking shape just to mix stuff up a little bit. Charlie Morley still had a 7.0, but I want to give Ryan Adams some time in his favoured role as that attacking winger. We'll give Farai Singano a rest and bring on Kane Brougham. And we might also push Jack Harrison into midfield for Lee Hersett, who hasn't had a bad game. He's only on a 6.7, but just to kind of rotate through there and bring on Jamel Akeem for the last half now. I know it's always risky to do the last 3 subs at once, but I want to try and get as much match fitness into players as we can. That Christmas period is going to be absolute chaos for us if we're still going to be in the League Cup and competing in the league itself, and whatever other cup competitions might start later on in the season. I think it'll be the first league game where we've given Daniel Adjei the opportunity to play 90 minutes. We'll see if he makes the most of it. Evans now with a free kick. It's from distance. It was curling back towards the goal, but I think the keeper had it covered pretty much the entire time. All right, Reid now with the corner for Hackney Wick. It's a deep ball across. It hits the deck for Vernon, and it was scrambling around there for a minute, and I think it was Jamel Akeem who eventually got it away. Might have been Kane Brougham, but decent defensive performance. I think a decent, good save from Andy Cade-Watts on the goal line there before it was hacked clear. That is one thing I've noticed in this game, not just in this series, but other series that I've watched, other content creators that I've seen, like long throws and corners and stuff. Set pieces in this game this season are absolutely ridiculous. We haven't actually done any set piece stuff in the team just yet. We're just letting everything stay as the current defensive and attacking setups that Jay Devereaux has put together, but what we might have to do as we go up the divisions is specialise those a little bit more. All right, into the last 10 minutes now. Hackney Wick, to their credit, have come back into this game quite a bit. 8 shots now, 4 on target, 49% possession. For a team sitting in 17th or 18th and playing at home, they have actually come out a little bit more than I would have expected them to. I think it's just their individual quality that seems to hurt them. A lot of players on 6.1 ratings, no one really above a 6.7, which is kind of the default setting that you see. They have got a free kick now. They are going to make me eat my words. To head back across, away by Honesty, only as far as Reed, to McCarthy at the top of the box. Crossfield switch was there. They've committed a lot of men forward here. We've got Ryan Adams, Daniel Adji, and a few other players bursting forward. Daniel Adji takes it upon himself to strike from about 65 yards. I'm not going to not encourage him to do stuff like that because mental shit can happen in non-league football. But if Daniel Adji scores from that far out, I'll sign him to a lifetime contract. I'll give him £200 a week. It's been won back now by Court. We are getting towards the end of the extra time that was initially assigned. Adji has found his way in behind. Is there one more goal to be added on here? That is fantastic from Daniel Adji. His 7th goal of the season. Incredible strike for him. It's just a long ball forward from Ricky Evans, I think. Plucks it down between 2 defenders. It's a long one forward. It's probably not the best angle. Oh, here we go. This is much better. Daniel Adji comes forward. The keeper comes out, and he just puts that one to the left-hand shoulder of the goalkeeper. It actually wasn't that far in the corner where it actually passed the goal, but our 4th goal of the game, his 7th of the season, and that one must pretty much wrap up the rest of this game. Hackney Wick kick-off, but we are well and truly out of extra time. Just waiting for the referee to maybe catch up. Dye now with a cross-forward switch to Causey, and the referee calls full time. Fantastic performance. What an episode that's been. 5 goals unanswered in the first game, 4 in the next game as well. We are playing some tremendous football. And we've got some surprises in our teams in terms of performers. Singano I never would have picked to be playing at fullback and playing as well as he is. Lee Hurst's a winger in this game, but he's performing really well as a central defensive midfielder. Tashan Richmond is on fire. Daniel Adji is on fire. Very pleased with the result in your performance. There's no need to complicate it any further than that. Everybody looks pretty happy. Everyone's morale is pretty good. Even the likes of Jamie Jackson and Dan Brown that didn't actually come off the bench, they still seem to be enjoying the games as they go. Fantastic result. 4-0. Sees us remain on top with a 6-point advantage. 8 games played, 7-1, 1 draw, plus 18 goal difference. There's not really a whole lot you could complain about there. Tashan Richmond gets player of the game. Because we're playing away, I can't seem to talk to him about it. I'm not sure what that's about. But 8 games in a row now without losing. We are absolutely walking this league at the moment. But it's a long season. Don't get carried away. I know we're not going to go through the season undefeated. We've lost in cup competitions, so we are capable of losing to teams at this level. Lopez Tavares could have stolen that game from us, that 2-2. Stuff will happen throughout the course of this year that will go against us, and we just have to deal with that. But that closes off October for us already, so we're likely going to come back, I think, in November. And what we might do is this Halstead Town game. They're currently in 2nd spot. I think they're going to be huge for us. We'll wait and see what the cup draw and cup competitions look like. We do have a game against Lopez Tavares, the only team that has taken points off us this season, on the 30th. There is potential that we will have another cup game around that time. So we'll definitely come back for Halstead Town, and it'll either be May and Baker as the 2nd game or a different match in a cup competition. But we are churning through season 1 with our #United series and save. I am thoroughly enjoying it. All the work that everyone's put into it, the likes of the FMEditor, the likes of Request a Kit. We're going to soon have an intro from Rick at How Many Triangles, who's done some fantastic work for other series and saves around YouTube. Think of Dr. Benji's episodes in his Thames series, in his new Central Park Rangers series. The intro work done for that is exactly what we're going to have for this series, which I'm so excited and thrilled about. It's a massive coup for us to get that sort of support from that talented an artist. So please go and check out all of their content. It is in the description down below. But more than anything, guys, thanks for your continued support. Thanks to everyone that's commented and given us feedback and who's tweeted stuff at #United. Shout out to Moores. Shout out to anybody else who has gotten involved. More than anything, I hope you guys are enjoying the series so far and you are getting the most out of the content that you have. Shout out to FM Trecortista, who has always been involved around this content. Shout out to Tommy Triangles, who's always commenting on new episodes whenever there are any sort of issues. He's the first guy to let me know. Fantastic supporter. Really appreciate that. But as always, I've been Sean. I'm Sean. I'll see you guys again in the mixer. And don't forget to hashtag it.